I had been a Thomas and Friends fan, so my parents bought me Thomas the Tank Engine toys and Thomas the Tank Engine books. I really loved them so much, and this big book is my early favorite. This book was written by Wilbert Audrey with 56 fully illustrated stories. Since there are a lot of stories to choose from, so I chose this one, Thomas and the Trucks, which had been rebooted into a television series in the late 1980s. So, why don't you sit back and enjoy my animation I just made? And this is how the story goes. Thomas the Tank Engine would not stop nagging all night.
I'm tired of pushing coaches. I want to see the world.
The other engines did not take any notice at all, but Thomas is a little engine with a long tongue. But Edward felt very sorry for Thomas.
Hey Thomas, why don't you pull my goods train tomorrow while I shunt coaches in the yards?
That's a great idea. We'll ask our drivers.
The next morning, Thomas was very busy, shunting cars in the yards. He worked hard to shunt his cars into place, and Edward came to give him a warning. He was worried that if Thomas wasn't careful, those trucks can push him off the rails. But Thomas has already puffed off, and Edward did not have time to give him an advice. Without listening to Edward's advice, Thomas puffed around the island happily.
I'm sure no mishaps will happen along the rails, right?
Steady, Thomas. We're heading towards Gordon's Hill. As Thomas was puffing up the hill, struggling, the trucks thought they could play a trick on him. Thomas managed to pull his trucks up the hill, and the trucks made up their plan. They banged Thomas on his back buffers and pushed him down the hill. Thomas whooshed past James at the station.
Whoa, Thomas!
Thomas whooshed past Henry.
Whoa, slow down.
Thomas tries to put on his brakes, but disaster laid ahead. Poor Thomas was dirty from funnel to footplate. He bashed into 3 oil tankers, and he was off the rails. Edward and Henry were both called to clean the mess up. It took some time to clear the wreckage and get Thomas back on the tracks. Thomas was sent to the works to get mended and cleaned up. The Fat Controller was very mad at Thomas. After being washed and mended, Thomas went back to speak with Edward.
I took quite a bad hit there, didn't I?
Yes, you did, Thomas. I tried to give you an advice, but you didn't stop.
I'm sorry, Edward, but what's the advice?
Oh, I learned that experience is the hardest kind of teacher. It gives you the test first, and gives you the right lesson afterwards.
So now, Thomas has finally learned his lesson. Will you learn that lesson too? Thank you for watching my animation. I really hope you enjoyed it. So let me spare you some details. I used stop motion to animate the entire video. So it took me about 10 days to make this 2-minute and 53-second long animation. Well, the crash scene about the oil tankers is like quite interesting for me. I like to add quite horrible twists in Thomas episodes, like when Thomas was pushed down the hill, he crashed into oil tankers in front of him. That is definitely not in the story. So, what originally happened is that Thomas decided to stop in front of a pair of buffers, and the Fat Controller scolded him. So, I thought that part looked really boring, so I updated it, like, you know, the crash scene. And so, 2 engines were called to clean the mess up. So you may be asking, what am I using to animate? Well, here are the softwares. I used Flip-A-Clip. I didn't want to make it look like that Thomas is moving and he is shrinking, so I measured by dome, cap, and funnel to make it look like he's moving in a proper way. And so after that, I edited everything in KineMaster. For the narrator, I used my original voice, but for the voice of the characters, I used the pitch changing tool, which is you change the pitch to high or low.
I'm tired of pushing coaches. I want to see the world.
Okay, let's just change the pitch a bit.
I'm tired of pushing coaches. I want to see the world.
Nope. I'm gonna give him a shrill woman voice.
I'm tired of pushing coaches. I want to see the...
So, I wanted to give Thomas quite a very cute expression because when I see some of his promo images, I mean, like, look at his face. It's so cute. So, I decided to give him a shriller woman voice. And for Edward, because he is an old engine, I decided to give him a voice of an 85-year-old man. And at the beginning of my animation, I wanted to make it look nice. So I decided to use the adjustment tool to adjust the light and darkness. I set it to a very low -100 to make it look like it's nighttime. And after that, well, I added music. The music of my own interest. I gathered Thomas music from the late 1890s and put them into the animation. Because every Thomas and Friends television show and episode always have music. To animate the lip sync, I had to use 12 drawings and pictures to make it look like he's talking to give a great effect to the video. And to make the part where he has to apply his brakes, you know, the screech, I had to use light and fast strokes to make the fire and sparks. And as for when he was covered in oil, I used some swirly strokes to make it look like he's extremely dirty. The animation takes lots of time and it takes patience, but once you finished it, it is always satisfying. Because hard work always pays it off.